I always like to start with the tournament and course information at the gcsaa.org. That is this website you see right here. I do have the top kind of masked a little bit. But when you come here to this website, all you gotta do is go down to the media room down here. Go here, you'll find the tournament fact sheets right there. I know it's really small on your screen, but trust me, bottom of the screen in the footer, you will see media room tournament fact sheets. And all you gotta do is go up here to the PGA Tour and hit the Tour Championship. I'll zoom in for you guys so you guys can see this a little bit better. But all the sheet provides us are data points for research. So you have the tournament, the Tour Championship, you have the golf course, East Lake Golf Club, Atlanta, Georgia. So you also have the region that you can use. You have the city. If you want to use any of these for data points, you certainly can. I don't think they're that important. I mean, the golf course is. So too is the tournament, but more so the golf course. You can look at the par, the setup here. That's also worth researching, I think. You can look at some other course statistics that I don't even know if I really care all that much for. Some of this is good, some of it's just noise. The thing I really find most important is the turf grass. So you can see we have on the greens, Mini Verde, Ultra Dwarf, Bermuda. We also have that on the approaches. The tees are a little bit different, and so too are the fairways. So the tees are like a mix of Bermuda and zoysia grass. We don't really care about the tees, if we're being honest. Most people just teed up even on the par threes. So we don't have to really worry about grass there. But the zoysia is in the fairways. This is just like the FedEx St. Jude Championship. So if you wanted to use that as like some course comp, you certainly could. I don't know how closely correlated it is, but you certainly could. You could. I personally do not have zoysia grass as a grass stat that I use. If you were to go back to the cheat sheet, you can see it says bent. Let me go ahead and change that to Bermuda. Bent means Bermuda. It really doesn't. I just forgot to update it. So we have Bermuda grass. You can use this. My data goes back to 2013. So these three columns here, Bermuda events, overall Bermuda, and top 10 Bermuda percentage. This is just their success rate of finishing inside the top 10 at Bermuda golf courses. You have that all right here in these three columns. And then last year, Bermuda just looks all the way back to, well, 365 days ago. What is their average finishing position on Bermuda golf courses? So you can see all the best performers on Bermuda. So this is available to you again on the cheat sheet you can find in the description below. But going back to the fact sheets, you also have additional notes in here that you could use if you wanted to. I don't really care all that much, if I'm being honest. None of this really seems important or relevant. You could also use the course architect, Tom Bendelow. You could also use some of these renovation architects like Reese Jones and Donald Ross. I really don't know the correlation there, but again, these are data points you can use in researching. And if you had 100 points, maybe you could put 2 into the architect and 1 into any of these renovation architects. Like you're trying to just tip the scale a little bit just to have a little influence, but you wouldn't want to lead with this information. I think most of your like the good meat in a model would be your turf grass. And then of course, if you have any like course mapping, like I kind of do, I guess we can go over it a little bit here. So I usually like to look at each golf course and try to figure out, you know, is there a shot shape that's required or a shot shape that is preferred? Because I'm looking for scoring opportunities. DraftKings and FanDuel is a game of scoring birdies and eagles and avoiding bogeys, basically. But it primarily is trying to get birdies and eagles. Well, you can't really get birdies and eagles unless, or I should say this, it's hard to get birdies or eagles if you don't put yourself in the right position. And a lot of times you need a specific shot shape to do just that. Well, I don't really see a huge advantage on any of these holes that require you one shot shape or the other. Looks pretty even when we kind of look at the summary box right here. So it looks like 2 off the tee draws, 2 off the tee fades, 1 approach draw and 2 approach fades. Otherwise, it's pretty much you can hit any shot. And how I would look at a hole like this that says fade, fade. Well, if someone draws, you know, if someone has a draw shot shape, I mean, it's a par 5. They could probably make birdie regardless. This is more or less hitting it off the tee as far as you can and going for it in 2. But if someone were to play this in 3 shots and still park it close to the hole and make that putt, they still get a birdie. So you could ignore something like this. A lot of this, even in hole 18 is a par 5 as well. You could ignore that as well. So it isn't necessary. It's just, I think, the best opportunity for scoring. That's how I look at it. And on the cheat sheet, if you were to go back to the cheat sheet, you can see that I include shot shapes in column P. Not everybody has a shot shape here. Maybe everyone will after I do this. Because I watch these things. I went to school for golf. I give golf lessons. I pay attention pretty closely. Actually, I don't know Taylor Moore and I don't know Adam Schenk off the top of my head. I look pretty closely at shot shapes. And I know when someone is a little inadequate when trying to hit a specific shot shape, like say Tommy Fleetwood trying to hit a fade. Guy isn't very good at it, despite being a pro. Some of these guys, they can flight it both ways. But when I look at the golf course, it doesn't seem like there's an advantage to hit one shot over the other. Maybe when we get down to hole 18 and the tournament is on the line, and say Rory McIlroy's out there and he tries hitting, you know, he's known for hitting a huge draw or a nice draw, a beautiful draw. He also knows how to work a fade. So perhaps he can do this. It's very, I mean, some of this is noise, don't get me wrong, but again, I'm looking for scoring opportunities. So on a golf course like this, it doesn't really matter. It's a long-winded way to say it really doesn't matter. If we go and we look at the tournament, this is where it gets very interesting. If you're not aware, the tournament has staggered scoring. So I'm going to go ahead and sort that by the score. You can also find this on the cheat sheet. I included that here in column N for score. Sorry, wrong sheet. Let me just close that one down. It's a staggered start. So number 1 in the FedEx Cup playoffs is Scottie Scheffler. I realize I didn't update the OWGR, but it doesn't really matter. Scottie currently in the playoffs leading up to the championship right now is number 1. So he gets to start out at -10. I'm sure you've heard this throughout the industry. I'm not going to be the first person telling you this, and this is probably repeat information that you're probably tired of hearing, if I'm being honest. So we have that information. I have this included in the cheat sheet. So that's where these golfers start. Now that plays a huge factor into, well, their price tags for one thing, but also who you want to start with when selecting the golfers to put on your team. Remember, DraftKings and FanDuel, you select 6 golfers. Well, you see some of these price tags up here? You know, if we went 4 under or better, no one's cheaper than 9,100. And really, there's 3 golfers that are in the 9,000 range. Everyone else is in the 10,000 and above range, including Scottie Scheffler at 13,400. Well, DraftKings still has a salary cap of $50,000. So putting Scottie Scheffler on there kind of handicaps you quite a bit in the golfers you can choose. We'll look at this more with the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups, just to see, you know, should we include a $13,000 golfer in our lineup or not? You know, does it end up working out that way? We'll figure it out there. But the other piece to all of this, I do have tee times loaded in. Usually I talk about marquee tee times in the strategy video. We won't be doing that because there's no point. They reseed after every day. That's at least what I remember from last year. So if, say, you know, so Scottie and Victor Hovland will be, you know, going out last. They're at 1 p.m. If Rory has a dynamite round and he shoots up to number 1, but Scottie still maintains his lead over Victor Hovland. So let's say, so Victor starts at -8, Rory starts at -7, and Scheffler starts at -10. Let's say these two stay the same, and Rory shoots up to 13 under. He and then Scottie Scheffler will be paired up on Friday. Victor will move down wherever he ends up, you know. He'll be paired up with the next person. So on and so forth. So they're going to get seeded, repaired after each round. So there's no real sense in talking about marquee tee times. I guess we can tomorrow in that strategy video. Again, I go live 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. But just throwing that out there because that's part of this tournament information that you might need to know or you might want to know. And then the other last piece to go with this is just I have the strength of field calculated, 517. I mean, it doesn't really matter. There's 30 people in this event. That's the other thing I could mention. There's 30 people in this event. It's a no-cut event, so all 30 of these golfers will play 72 holes unless they withdraw, of course. So keep all of that information in mind, and those are also data points you can use for researching. So I really don't have anything else to talk about with the course information or the course and tournament information. So we can end this segment here.